Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Chatbot Launchpad Workshop. This is Create Your Chatbot, No Stress, Session 2. So hopefully you're joining us for the second session, and if you haven't seen the first one, it's available, and go watch that and come back and join us. But if not, so happy that you're here to join us today for Chatbot Launchpad Workshop, Session 2. My name is Nick Fry. I'm the manager of business development with Tourism Nova Scotia. And for those of you new and aren't familiar with Tourism Nova Scotia, we work with communities and industry to attract visitors to the province, to increase tourism revenues through experience and sector development, business coaching, marketing, and visitor services. So thank you again for taking the time to join us today. If you have any questions throughout, I'd really encourage you to put them in the Q&A at the bottom. All our webinars are so much better when we have really great questions coming our way. If there's any links and resources that we speak about during the webinar, we'll make sure we share them after the fact so that you don't have to get distracted throughout the webinar. They'll come out in an email later on, and it will also be available by recording. So really excited for you to come today. Ask any Q&As at the bottom, and if anything pops up throughout or after the fact, just send us an email and we'll be able to answer your questions. Now, I'm hoping you joined us today through Digiport. nsdigiport.ca is the only one-stop shop of its kind in Canada for tourism operators that provides educational opportunities to help tourism businesses bridge the digital bridge the digital gap. It helps you access digital marketing professionals, programming, resources. So hope you joined us through that. And if not, make sure you sign up for NS Digiport today. So happy that we're able to welcome Melissa Lloyd back from Aigility Hub. Aigility Hub works with businesses across Canada on their journey towards AI implementation through workshops, keynotes, and personalized coaching. We've been lucky enough to have Melissa on a few webinars and also present in person at Digital Days. And she makes the concept of integrating AI very relatable and easy to understand. So it's not as scary as we all think. So really excited. I want to welcome Melissa to take over the screen. And again, any questions throughout, just pop it in the Q&A. We'll make sure Melissa gets a chance to answer those.
Hello. I know that you can't probably see me at the moment. I'm just getting some permission to share my video. All right. Can everybody see me?
We can see you.
Oh my
10-4.
gosh. Okay, I'm not even showing up. So this is new. So okay, thank you very much, Nick. Okay, here I can see myself. Hello, everybody. I'm so delighted to be here. I really appreciate the fact that again I can be here to help you go and move through this space of AI. Sometimes what we think is very challenging can be quite liberating once we realize actually we can do it. And so this is why I as well really, if you're not part of Digiport, definitely get in because there's some incredible resources. So thank you to Nova Scotia Tourism and Digital Nova Scotia for doing such wonderful work. Now, today we are going to be entering, like Nick said, into Chatbot, the Chatbot Launchpad, where we're going to go in and actually build a bot. Now, if anybody's going, oh my gosh, that absolutely terrifies me, I'm going to try to break this down as best as possible. And we're going to be kind of, if you were here last week and we started a process where we started to map out that conversational flow. If you've not been able to, if you weren't in the webinar last week, please feel free to go back. And this is what I love is that these are recorded so you can watch them over and over and over. So the chatbots really are why I love them so much is that they're a real great way for you to be able to really increase the opportunity to serve your customers. And especially being in a tourism business, this is pretty critical, especially for when we're looking for more lead generation, revenue generation, and being able to keep our customers happy. So we are going to go into a couple of different places today. I'm going to share my screen here shortly. We're going to be designing and building a very simple frequently asked questions chatbot Now, if there's anybody, and also please let me know in the, because I know that the conversation, the chatbot is open. Let me know if anybody has had any experience with chatbots before, or if it's like, I'm absolutely new, let me know. Um, this is something like anything. When we get into things that are new, we're learning something. And oftentimes with learning, there's a learning curve. And there's an ability that sometimes we can feel a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning. And it's like, okay, but that's the push that we need to go, okay, I know I can do this. I just have to be open. Just have to be curious. And so that's what we're going to kind of, I really do encourage you to think about that today, not going in and kind of putting a barrier and saying, I can't do this. Melissa, if Melissa can do this, I can do this. And you may not pick it up instantly, but this is why we have this re-recording. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go back into a little bit of last week where I want to kind of talk about the real importance of just having that conversational flow. Now, for those of you who have had the workbook as well, we started to kind of look at, okay, what is a conversational flow and why is it even important when we talk about designing a chatbot journey and for our own business? A lot of the time people want to just jump right in and start building something. But if you don't know what you're building it for, what its purpose is, it's not going to be an easy, well, it's not an easy journey when you go that way because you're going to kind of go up with all kinds of different blocks. So when we can plan it out, or we can have just a really good understanding of, okay, actually, this is my chatbot. It's going to greet the user. The user's going to ask a question. This is what the chatbot says. When you start to map that whole process out, you will have a lot more ease in terms of knowing exactly where you want to go and where you want that chatbot to function for your company. So another piece is, when we go into chatbots, it's all about having a knowledge base. And people often go, I don't even know, it feels like it's magic that chatbots just work. It needs data to be able to answer the questions. And so your data is very, very important. And if you're thinking, oh my gosh, Melissa, I don't even have data. I don't even know what that, like, I don't even know how to collect that. Well, you do have data because if you've got a website, then you've got all kinds of information that you've put together. And that's really, really important for being able to know that you can build a knowledge base for this chatbot. So on my screen, I'm hoping you're seeing this. I've got my knowledge base that's been created, something very basic. It can come from, like I said, a lot of the content on your website. This was also sent to you from the team. And what you're going to see here is I've kind of just highlighted things like about us, the company name, the company overview, our mission, our values, tour offerings. And I'm doing this for a bike company specifically. You can be anything. It can be in the, accommodation business with restaurants, but you want to go through and really kind of start to detail in a simplified way, a little bit more about your business so that the chatbot has the ability to pull information. So what's really important as well is we can use from a knowledge base. It doesn't have to be a document like this. I just like to write it in Word. It could be that you're linking to your website. So a knowledge base can pull from something that's already created. I would say a lot of websites don't have frequently asked questions. So if you are designing a frequently asked question bot and you're linking it to a website, your user will be frustrated because the chatbot will not be able to pull the answers. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight, but we will be using today this type of knowledge base so that I can start to educate the chatbot. So now we're going to jump into the building of it. And we are going to be using a company which I feel like has real fantastic opportunity with regards to just being able to know that it's not hard. Like these are low code, no code chatbot builders. And if you're someone that is like, okay, I have no clue about coding, this is a perfect place to land. And even if you are a coder, it's a really great company because you can go in and do a lot of customization if you need be. So we are going to sign in. If you've not signed up, you are absolutely welcome to kind of follow along today. I may be going through this a little bit quicker, so you will be able to go back and again, watch this recording. So I'm going to sign in here, and inside when you get into BotPress, and maybe one of the team members can put the BotPress URL inside the chat. What you're going to find is that you kind of have this workspace, and it may look a little bit foreign, and because if you've never gone in here, but I want to show you how you can get right to it. Well, like right to actually designing a chatbot. So you'll see that you have this space. It's called, it's a workspace. We're going to move into going here where we've got new bot. You click on a new bot because that's what you're going to want to do. And hopefully you have an idea of, okay, what am I designing my chatbot for? Where is it going to sit? Okay, in this case, we're doing a frequently asked question bot, and we're going to put it on our front page of our website. Now, what we want to do after we hit new bot is you're going to go, okay, we're going to open it in a studio. So the studio is where everything happens. It's where all the conversation, the dialogue of how you're designing this chat bot, it's going to be housed in here. Now, you have different options where you can go, okay, you can learn more about BotPress, which is an amazing resource. I have to say, they've got fantastic community resources. So if you're really, really into wanting to learn how to build your own chatbot, they have that information for you. But what I want to do today is I want to start it from scratch, because again, I'm going to build on stuff from last week. So I'm going to basically start from scratch. I'm going to use a template. And we're going to go in and we're going to just get a little bit more familiar with, oh, what does a studio look like? Now, this is what the studio looks like. I'm just going to get rid of this because this will come up in every single time. They do give you a lot of support here. But what you're going to see is that on our studio, we have a start and an end. And here's a little example of what we call a node. So this is where some of your conversation fits within. You'll always be between a start and an end. And that's because when we think, like last week, we go through a conversation very methodically and take a person, or specifically our customers, through a process. We have to start it and then we have to end it. So we're going to learn how to really kind of go inside of here and design our conversation. Now, I want to kind of go to as well the actual question and answer. Anybody, have I lost anybody here? Does everybody kind of feel like, okay, I have got capacity, I can dive in here? Hopefully everybody's good to go. So when we're into this studio, there's a couple fundamentals that I really want to share with you. And as I mentioned, there is a node, and a node is, if I click my button, my left or my right hand click, it might be left on your computer, it means that I'm going to click a standard node. And what a standard node is that's a building block. So think about, we're building a foundation for our bot. This is a building block that is going to help our chatbot, and everything inside of our bot is going to be part of a conversation. Now, this is going to start to make sense. I promise it will. I just want to get some fundamental basics down. This is a node. It's going to house our conversation. Now, if I was saying hello, it's an introduction to your company, then what I want to make sure I do is that I add a card to say hello. So as soon as you click on add a card, I'm going to go and say, I want to say use text. Okay, I want to use text because, of course, when you have a chatbot, the first thing that you're going to say, and you've got to think of those words, well, we need to make sure that we say something like hello and introduce your business. So that text card is really, really important, that we can create those actions. So when we go back last week to our sheet and we see this conversational flow, we can start to now understand how we map it. Now, just to show you as well, when we kind of get to cards, and this is like, it's a little bit sensitive, as you can see on that. Oh goodness, what's going on? On the card sheet, we don't always just have to say it's going to be text that we put out as a chatbot. Maybe it's an image, because maybe you're an actual accommodation. And as we get further into this chatbot conversation, you want to show rooms and pricing. So this is where we get a lot of flexibility in BotPress to start designing a conversation that's meaningful to our business. We can do things like carousels where we can have multiple pictures. We can go into, like, you can just zoom down. You can say multiple choice. Maybe you're asking a question. Specifically, what we're going to ask today is how many people are on this bike tour? So we start to have to familiarize ourselves with these cards. So everything in here is a card. Now, I don't want you to sit and think about, okay, I'm going to get frustrated because I don't know all of this. Again, this is your journey to a beginning piece of showing you that you can design a chatbot, but let's keep it really, really simple. We will use a text card today. Now, the next piece that I want to also share is another piece of really helpful advice, and this is to help our logic of how we move people through a conversation in a chatbot, is an expression. And you're seeing here that I actually have like highlighted this. An expression is really, it allows us to create what we call conditional logic. It helps us branch conversation. So I mentioned to you that maybe the bike tour company, the chatbot has said, how many people are in your party? How many people do you want to come on this bike tour? And if I said 5, I can have a conditional logic to say, well, maybe the pricing's different than for 5. Or maybe, if it's one person, there's something else that we can create as part of the logic. An example also would be, what's the weather like today? The chatbot might respond with, what's your location? Based on your location that we provide what the chatbot can give us, it will be different from if you're in northern Nova Scotia versus southern Nova Scotia in Yarmouth. So the expression allows us to really create different ways of having a conversation. So again, I'm going to go back to the chat box, and I just want to, can you give me a thumbs up if you're like, okay, I think I'm starting to understand some basic principles. We just went through a node. Remember, the node is the actual card. The node is the house, the foundation of our conversation. And then we go inside and we start to put text cards and cards that will help us move through that conversation. And then an expression opens and it branches up. Okay, I see one thumbs up. If you are at all going, oh my gosh, Melissa, I feel like I'm like paralyzed. I do not know what is going on. Again, allow yourself the permission to, it may not all make sense right this instant, but it will definitely make a lot more impact when you watch it a second time and a third time if you need help. So we're going to go in now and start to use these cards and these taking a person through a conversation. I have here that I've got this node, and I'm going to actually get rid of this. One of the great things is, and I'm going to zoom out on this studio. See what happens is I've got all this space. So I know that we're kind of confined today, but you have all kinds of space to play. So you're not going to break anything here. You want to go and play and really kind of start to exercise all kinds of different ways that you can see how your chatbot can work. So I've got my box here. I'm going to rename it. I'm just going to say it's my welcome message. And I really do encourage you to start to name these nodes, because what does a real, like if I show you what we're designing right today, I'm going to show you what it looks like. That's what it starts to look like. So if I'm not, and again, this is not meant to make you go, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. We're going to break down each step. You have a start point, and inside this start point, I'm going to say, oh my goodness, I have to actually name it because I don't want to get confused in this process. I'm going to call it welcome. And then we are going to start to add things so that we can start to build this conversation. So it might look complicated here, but in essence, if it's taken from your page, this is the way that we represent it in a chatbot conversation. So let's go back here. We've got our text spot. We are going to say, and again, I'm going to be using this, this bike tour company. It is completely made up. If I click on my text card, what's going to end up coming up? And I just wondering what is happening here. This is where we have to be also forgiving to a process. Okay. So if I click on my text box, and I'm going to pull my screen out here, if I click on that, it's going to bring a little box up, which is message to send. Well, I've just copied and pasted because I've already done my work on my piece of paper. Hello, my name is Touring Timmy. I'm your digital assistant. So you can put anything in here. You write your own piece. So that's the very first thing that somebody is going to see. Now, what I want to do is this frequently asked chatbot, I want to pick up some main pain points that are in my business and say, the biggest things that people keep asking me are, what are the tours? What's the pricing? And maybe what's another area that, you can help me with. So in order to be able to do that, what you want to do is you go back into your cards. So this is where we go, okay, we find another card. This is where you can be really creative. You can go down and you can say, okay, I want to put in a single choice. Now, a single choice means that I can actually add different labels. So I just told you that my top pain points in my business are different information about tours, information about pricing, and other. So let's just try to see if this is going to, how this comes out. So I'm going to take tours and I'm going to put it in this label, TOURS. I want to put another one of these choices where I say, I want to kind of give more information on pricing. Because again, these things may all be on your website, but a user oftentimes does not want to dig for information. If they have their personal assistant on your homepage that's asking questions and they get the answers back, that is like a very big gift that you can give your customers, just because they're not able, they can get it quickly, they can get in and they can get out. So we've got tours, we've got pricing, and then I'm going to call the other one other. Now, there's a couple other pieces that I would say here. I want to make sure that if we leave this in, it's going to double up. And I'm gonna show you what we've just designed, just based on these two basic cards inside. In order to see how this is working and that you test it as you go, you do have to connect these two pieces. So you just drag your little line to your card. So that means, okay, if I've started, that means I start the conversation and I can say hello as a user. And oh my goodness, look what comes up. Hello, my name is Touring Timmy. I'm your digital assistant. So we see that I've started to construct the idea of the chatbot, but I also know it's doubled up. That's not something that I want. So I can go back to the card, the single choice card, and it's all about clicking on, and I can get rid of this text and I can go, okay, I'm going to start it again. Hello. And this time, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to direct my conversation where I can make a choice from the list below. Oh, I have to refresh it. Sorry, everybody. I'm like, that's not what I wanted. You have to refresh your bot, but as you kind of make little edits, you can go into the right-hand side of this panel. It's called the emulator, and start to chat with it, and really start to see where you're creating conversation flow, and also maybe where there's errors and where you're like, oh, that didn't really work very well. So that's a really good indication. Now I've got these two pieces. I've said hello, I've got my single choice, and I want to direct the user into the biggest piece, which is tours. Everybody always asks about tours. So I need to actually create another standard node. Okay, another node. Again, it's right click on my machine, and I want to call it this time because remember, you want to, as you build out a bigger and bigger chatbot, you want to make sure that everything is well organized. So I'm going to call this type of tours. I'm going to move this up. Let's move this around so you can see as well. Soon I'm going to have to move this endpoint well out. And let's go back to the bot. Okay, so we're going to be connecting this tours right up to a new node. Now, what are we going to say about tours? If somebody asks about tours, maybe they want to kind of learn about the different types that you offer. Or again, maybe it's something in the restaurant industry and you want to talk about the different types of foods. Or maybe it's something within, like I said, about your accommodation space, and you're like, okay, I'm really looking forward to using a chatbot to show the accommodation. I mean, again, this is all practical to your own business. So what I'm going to do next is I am going to create an opportunity where people can start to understand the type of tours that this company does. So I'm going to add a card, and this time my card is a carousel. And it's not going to be text, it's going to be a carousel. And why I'm picking a carousel is because when I pick a carousel, it means that I can add cards. So if you can think about your Instagram, we create cards so that people can move through to see our product. This is the exact same thing. We're going to create cards with a carousel to show, in this case, we're showing tours. So I want to add a carousel. Now in my carousel, the first piece that I need to kind of share is that, okay, I know people ask me all the time, okay, the Coastal Trails Tour, they like to know the distance as well. So I'm going to add that into my carousel. And again, if this is not making sense right now, just watch what happens as I kind of put my title into my carousel. Oh, and I know that's what's really important is they always want to know the amount of distance. And just to make it come to life, because guess what? Chatbots can use all kinds of different ways to promote your content. I'm going to go in and I'm going to find, if we go to the chatbot, I'm going to already pick a chosen picture. So let's pick this picture and put it in the space. So this is what's going to come up for my Coastal Trails tour. As you kind of see, also there is an action button. So we'll come back to this, but I'm just going to show you how the first carousel works. So let's go back here. We go into our emulator and we're going to say hello. We're going to see how this looks. Oh, I want some information about tours. Great, fantastic. Automatically, I've shown that, okay, this is the Coastal Trails Tour. But that doesn't really give me enough because of course I didn't learn enough off of it. And also I want to bring more personality to this. So what I've noticed that I've done, or what I have not done, is the user has clicked on tours, but I actually do want to say something, like just to kind of get them into the mode of, what I'm showing them. So you can easily just go back out and grab, again, a piece of text. Maybe the introduction is, here, thanks. Here are our available tours. I have to spell correctly too here. So what I've just done there is I realized that in that process, I didn't really make a really smooth transition from those tour buttons right into the next part of our conversation. You can be really fluid and it can be very seamless. I know that this is a bit choppy here today, but we can be really seamless with how we go through this process. So the first thing when somebody clicks on tours is they're going to see, thanks, here are available tours. And then we get the cards. But we aren't going any further than that because the chatbot has to kind of understand what the actual customer is wanting. And so maybe the customer wants more information. And so we can actually put in learn more. And this can take us to the very specific web page on your website that talks about that tour or talks about that particular type of food, or you can direct them anywhere. Now, maybe it's somebody that you're like, actually, I want to book now. So you also give them an opportunity where they can book now. So I've created, and all I've done is I've taken that little plus sign and I've added book now. So now what does this look like? Well, I'm going to kind of click on here, and you don't have to start from the beginning every single time in BotPress. You can just restart the conversation from here. Okay, I'm picking tours. So you're going to see that I'm in this emulator. Great. I learn more. I can click there. How easy is that? Or book now, and that can be rerouted to your your actual booking page, so it can actually kind of integrate with your software, or it can also go into your contact us page. So now you can start to see that this is how we start to bring a chatbot to life. Now I'm gonna add actually a couple more, and I'm gonna do it quite quickly, just so that we have more options. If I want to add more, I just click on my card and I go, okay, well, it's time to add another one. So I add a carousel, and here I'm clicking on this button. Now this time, I think what I'm going to add is, this time it's a culinary cycling tour. Wouldn't that be fun to go on? So I've got my culinary, the distance. This one is actually not as long, probably because you're spending some more time eating. I've got this information, like I said, on my word sheet, because I've already designed my conversation, which is great. And I want to do learn and book more. I also want to put another picture. This is a culinary tour. And so here we go. So we've got a second tour. I want to put in my action button, which is learn more. I don't have an actual URL right now, but this is to show you kind of how it can work. And book now. And I'm done that one, and I'm going to do one more. One more. So what was my other one is, well, actually this company has a couple of things, so maybe I have to add two more. This next one is the historic Halifax tour. And this is a distance of 15 to 20. So again, thinking about your own company situation, where can you use a carousel in your business to be able to help guide a conversation? So we'll go in here, we'll add a picture. Again, once you become, familiar with how BotPress works, and I'm not saying that after today you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I know exactly how to do it. You do have the recording, but also you have to start to become familiar with also going into this type of conversation. You're designing a conversation and you're designing it visually through these cards and notes. So I've got my third one, and I've got one last one we will kind of dive into because I've got a self-guided tour in this company. And so we are going to call it self-guided tours. And then we're going to say, well, it's not based on like the amount of kilometers. We're going to customize the routes. We're going to get a picture. And I like to keep things organized because when you're designing a chatbot, it can get a little confusing if you don't stay organized. So keeping things really, really clean and simple. Let's add our button where we go learn more. And we're going to add book now. I hope this is starting to show you as well the process of that things take work and effort. And I know that you're like, almost, I was hoping I'd come today and I just wanted to be done. All of these are carefully crafted conversations and really being intentional about how you move your chatbot through a conversation, because nothing is more frustrating when you go to a chatbot and it's not been considered and it doesn't give the information to your end consumer or a potential client, and it leaves them frustrated. So, taking the time to plan and then go through this process, hopefully this will really kind of give you a greater insight. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so here we go. Where are we at? Hello, my name is Touring Timmy. I'm your digital assistant. I want to go to tours. And you're always going to know how it's moving through. See, it highlighted the yellow box. It was yellow before, so you can see where it's at. Oh, I've got multiple. Fantastic. Look at all the things that I have here. Oh, I realized that my learn more and my book now, I didn't obviously input that. But so now you've given this beautiful carousel of different things. Can I stop and just go into the chat? Does anybody have questions on that? Is that clear? Is that helpful? Can you start to see how a conversation is starting to happen based on a chatbot? Okay, I've got no questions. I'm hoping that means that I still have you here. So, okay, we are going to now, I'm going to go fix that one card because of course I don't want that to be a problem, the learn more and book now. So let's go and look, it didn't pick it up. Okay.
Melissa,
Yes.
I had a quick question for you, and this is probably so
Yes.
basic. Where, like, does the AI have it built into it, like the chatbot, like the kind of conversational back and forth, like the basic, like, hi, how are you doing kind of stuff? Like, because clearly you're not putting that in here, but like that's obviously a part that would need to be integrated as well.
Yeah, so that's a great question. So with the AI, and so we're going to use knowledge bases, which use AI, but AI in general, like I would never want my chatbot to just go off with AI. And there's a reason for that because you need to be able to train based on the data. So it takes quite a lot of data to make sure that just AI kind of takes on its own path. So we're using a hybrid approach here today, where we use the knowledge bases. We've got AI to pick up on the pieces of what the knowledge needs to be, but we're not letting it go full blown into AI mode. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, definitely. But I guess my question is, and this makes perfect sense, and it's perfect, it's great. So I'm not surprised no one's lost. But my like, what if they ask you like, okay, like what happens when you can't when it can answer the question or like,
Yes.
yeah. or when they're like, okay, cool. Is do you have it this Tuesday? Or, like that's how people talk to chatbots. Like, okay, well, can I go Tuesday or whatever, however it would go. Like, I like this tour, or maybe it directs you that way. But anyways, these are some of the questions that are just coming across my mind as I see it.
Yeah, no, and you know what? That is a great question, and that's the one thing that I'm really attentive to with regards to if your chatbot can't answer a question, you need to have, and as we move through this process, you'll see you add in those parts where if a chatbot can't answer based on variables, then you have to direct the customer to, and the chatbot will literally come out and say, please try again. And if you don't even want to do that, you can say, okay, I'm going to connect you with our team. Here's where you can reach out, like however you want to direct that process. But you always have to build in that element that if your chatbot can't answer that question, what is that fallback? And this is how you use nodes and cards to be able to do that in terms of the actual conversation. Is that helpful? I know all of this is like, okay, it doesn't always fully make sense until you've built the entire piece, but they're
Yeah.
really, really important parts. I think of when we're having these conversations, how do we make this as seamless as possible? And the next part that, we're moving through different parts of BotPress, so I can help you, just familiarize yourself with it. But when we get into knowledge base, this is when it really kind of ups the game, and it's like, oh my gosh, that's how you're training your chatbot. So we are gonna get into that so that you can start to see. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do that next with other, so that you can see, okay, how do we actually start to train it in that way? Because right now we're guiding a process, which there's guiding and then there's training. So there's like a little bit of a hybrid, and it depends on your business and what you're actually trying to communicate. And that's why it's really important to, okay, come to the table and say, what is the purpose of this chatbot? How do we need to kind of foster this type of conversation with our customers? What are they hoping for? The ultimate piece is that we want chatbots to be like ChatGPT or large language models. They talk just so eloquently. The truth is chatbots are not that refined. So we have to set the parameters in place to try to make it as simple as possible. That's why last week, when I was saying about, okay, break down your conversation, keep it as simple as possible. And as a user, if you're going to a chatbot in future, keep your question as simple as possible. Like that's you'll get the results. Now, in a couple of years, we won't even have that issue. We'll be actually talking to our chatbots, and it will all be very, very human led. It would just be very simplified. But now we know they're pretty sophisticated, and they can be very granular. But we are designing that process. I hope that's helpful. Sunny, I see that you're curious about the use of images. I see a URL connected to the images. Can you just pull images from our desktop, or does it need to be online somewhere? No, you just make a folder in your desktop, on your desktop. Maybe it's, again, I just pulled 3 tour images, and then you can use the link to where you want that person to go. Because again, the whole purpose is to try to make this as easy as possible for your people to get the information, get them in and out, because that's what they want to do. So please keep asking questions, because these are all very, very valuable. And I also know this is kind of like when we start to do these things, we start to go, oh my gosh, there's so many parts. So next I want to go into literally creating an opportunity where we can ensure that we can bring our knowledge base in. Because I did say that if you have a knowledge base and data, that's a wonderful thing where your chatbot is going to kind of gain and create that information and understand your business. So if you can see that on the left-hand side, there's different things in here, and you don't need to know all of them right now. We are going to go into flows though, because in flows, we have a default knowledge base. Now we have created a knowledge base from our Word document. So I want to click on default knowledge base, and up comes this screen, and it says, oh, where do you want your knowledge base to come from? Is it the website? Is it a document? That's the one I have today. You can even bring in a table. You can search online. In rich text, that's for somebody that is more into, I mean, again, it can be a rich text document. But what I want to show is I'm going to bring in my document and see what happens. So I click on it, and it says drag and drop some documents. So click on the document. I'm going to bring in the knowledge base that I showed you earlier, and I'm going to go open, and I want to confirm it. So again, every part of this process, it's not about trying to get everything figured out today. It's going through methodically and being able to, they do a very good job at helping us no-code people, non-technical people, go through this in a way that's a little bit more easeful. But a lot of this, again, is familiarity too. So it says that I've uploaded. I've got a little check. My knowledge base is there. Well, I want to make sure that it actually pulled in the knowledge and it works. So I'm going to say, let's say, where are you located? That's actually what I put in to my knowledge base, just so you know. If I want to ask a question of what tours do you have? So I can see if it's actually picking up the right content. You'd have to look at the tours or the actual document to know that it's correct. So here we go. It generated this answer. Great, fantastic. It knows how to actually even pick it up based on just asking a question. So even if I was back in if I go to main and I'm back in my studio, if I went to other and wanted to ask a question, my carousels won't come up because I'm going to design this part a little bit different. So let's try the next node. The next node what you're going to start to see here is, I'll create 3 just to show you. We've got 3 nodes here because I have 3 things that we have to create. We've got a tour, we've got pricing, and we've got other. So let me just name some of these just so that we stay organized. So we'll call this one pricing, and we're going to call this other. Now with the other one, this is actually pulling in from the knowledge base, because you can only imagine we don't want people to go through these prescribed pieces every single time. We want them to be able to free flowing ask a question like I was even doing in just testing the knowledge base. So with the other, and again, I'm going to show you how we start to do this. Here is the welcome, the type of tours. Now we're going into pricing. And actually, you know what? I don't want to, because I know it's 10-2. Why don't we go into other? Because other means that we can just ask a simpler question. So this looks all complicated, and this will look complicated for a little bit because I'm trying to kind of connect the dots on different things. But what I want to do is I'm going to go in and create my other question. Like where am I going to send people if I've created another? And this is, I'm going to show you where to go here. So I want to ask a single question. And so I can go down and say, I'm going to put it in my card. And my single question is, I want to connect it to my knowledge base this time. My single question will be, what question can I help with? Because if somebody has clicked on other, the natural next part of my flow in my conversation would be like, okay, what question can I help with? And so what I want this to help with this time is I actually want it to pick up from a knowledge base. Now this knowledge base, you're going to see here, it's not activated. It's not picked up the knowledge base that I wanted. So what you would do is you would go in and say, okay, I want to put in my default knowledge base. That may be too confusing. So you may want to go back into your default knowledge base, and maybe you want to say, okay, I want to rename this. This is my bike tour knowledge base. Because what I'm trying to get the chatbot to do is to actually be able to pull this information. Okay, so the bike tour, and see if this changes. When we go back into our studio and we go down, look, it changed its name. That just keeps it more organized for you. Again, I know this is a lot of different information right now, but what we do need to make sure that we do is we start to think about how we ask these questions. I want to ask in the knowledge base what the question, any type of random question. So I will stop here, and what I'm going to do is, I know that I've got this activated, the knowledge base is on. I know that what question can I help with. I'm just going to go in and test this because I've been doing a lot of talking. I want to just test this. Okay, here we go. My name's Touring Timmy. I'm your digital assistant. And then I'm going to click other and see what happens. What question can I help with? So automatically it brought up a piece of information that I designed. And we always have to remember to connect these little paths. So we're creating that conversation flow. So I'm going to be the user, and this time I'm going to say, do you have bike-friendly tours? See what happens. What's happening right now is it's going through and it's being able to go through your knowledge base to find information. Now, there is some issues, just so you know, down to there's way too much text here right now. People would just be like, oh my gosh, but it does give you exactly what they're asking for. Oh, bike friendly. I'm sorry. Do you offer family friendly tours? Let's just see that one, because of course they're definitely probably bike friendly tours, but let's see if they say, okay, do you offer family tours? Yes, Coastal Bike Tours offers family-friendly tours. Children of all ages are welcome on their tours. They even offer discounted rates for children under 12. So this route of other and using a knowledge base, you can also keep going back and forth in a more natural language, a natural kind of flow. What question can I help with? All right, well, maybe, and again, this is kind of frumpy. We have to go and refine some of these things. Maybe it's like, okay, this time I know that I can ask a question around what is your pricing for kids? Oh my goodness, I'm not doing a very good job actually typing in things. Let's see if it picks it up. But this is the beautiful things. Okay, self-guided tour. Okay, it tells us exactly what we want to know. Kids under 12, the guided tours are this, and self-guided tours, oh, it's not specified. We can also put in our knowledge base to ask us to reach out to a member of staff in our organization to help us further. So I'm hoping that you're starting to see that these very simple, I call them, it's almost like a word, it's a tree. You start to design this conversation flow in a way that can be helpful to your consumers and really your clients. And there's different ways of designing that conversation. Now, Nick did ask, well, what happens if it doesn't answer the question correctly, which is a really big piece. This is where we get a little bit more technical. And so we are going to have to turn another card. So perhaps we go into, let's click on our single choice. This is where we have to actually create a variable. And we've got a variable that will basically say, okay, if they've answered the correct question, as in, and they'll go through this stream. And if they haven't answered the correct question, we're going to send them another note to say, we don't understand this. So let's just try and see, create this variable. I want to, so I'm going to have a little bit of an issue here. This is all part of it. Okay, so let's try this again. I might do this with you. I might do this. Let's see if it comes up. No, it's not going to come up for me. So let's go back. If you're like, oh my gosh, why is it not working? No fear, there's always a way around it. I don't want to create that. So I think what I might do, because I know time is coming close, and this one is, I will specifically get into the other and the pricing next week, where I'll show you how we've just now connected our knowledge base, although right now it's not there, so we'd have to go back in and grab it again, where we click single choice, and it did pull it from last time. It knows to kind of go into the knowledge that we've set. And we always know that we have the knowledge base engaged by that little book. But next week, what we'll do is I'll show you how you can basically make a conversation go from left to right. If I can't answer the question, this is what we need to do. I do want to open it up as well to some more questions, because again, I know this is a whole lot of stuff, especially if you're brand new to this. But being able to at least see how a conversation starts to become designed is really, really important. And also knowing how eventually we're going to come to an end point where we want to end this conversation. And so as long as our nodes go to an end, that means our full conversational flow can happen. Now, before I look at the actual the questions, I'm going to see if my other chatbot, which this is the one that I designed, and again, there's not that many steps. It's just we're going through this quite quickly today, but I'm going to say publish, and I'm just going to see what happens with this. When you publish your chatbot, that means that you're able to see it on a kind of a different platform. That means it's ready for you to put it on your website. So we're publishing this chatbot. Everything's taking a little bit longer today. We're going to go share, and this is going to bring up your actual chatbot. Oh, here we go. I've seen that it's Coastal Bike Tours. Okay, it's called Ride the Breeze, See the Seas. This is, again, wonderful for you and your branding. And I'll go, hello. I'm going to instigate this conversation, see what comes up. Okay, this is Touring Timmy. See, there's options down here. I want to show you what happens with this chatbot when I don't answer it correctly. What would you like to know? Is the moon pink? Just because there's going to be all kinds of people that try things. And let's just see what it comes up with. It's really thinking. Sorry, I don't understand that question. Can you try again with something else, please? Do you have any more questions? And if I said yes. So again, that's all designed into the back end of how you create your conversation. What do I want to know? I want to know, what do I need to bring for a bike tour? Okay. And then again, allowing that knowledge base to pick up the data. And that's why it's really important to create a really clean Word document that you can use for your own business, so that the chatbot can easily go in and really, and this is where AI is brilliant too, acknowledge how to bring the information back. So I say, no, thanks, I don't have any more questions, because we're almost at time for today. And then you end on your, whatever your brand or your note is. You can be really kind of, again, you can get really fun with this whole process. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you can start, yep.
Quick question.
Yes, please ask any. I'm going to go into the chat box as well.
Yeah. Do you like, does next week or at any point we do this and then you just did that and that's great. And then do you explain, and if you already did, I apologize, but do you explain the link of like, and here's how you actually get it onto your website? Do you know what I mean?
Yep, I do that. So the next week I'll be doing that. We are going to be creating the rest of this chat bot.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm trying to keep it really simple. If
Sure.
you're like, oh, this is too simple, absolutely, it can be very sophisticated. And then I would show you, now everybody's going to be in a different situation with whatever platform you're using. So I'm not going to be able to show you the exact piece, but what I can say is BotPress, I'll show you where you copy the information that you then put into your website. And if you're like, that makes no sense to me because I'm not technical, BotPress, I have a video that I can share with you. It's like 5 minutes. It's not even long. That's how easy it is to actually integrate it. It's not difficult. It's just, you just got to find that one spot depending on what kind of platform you have.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I think, does the chatbot provide any report structure? Absolutely. So this is what I love about it. You can go, it's got a full on analytics, like analysis. So that's why a lot of people think, okay, once I design this, I'm going to be said and done. I'm not going to have to do anything with it. That's not true. So what's really important is that you manage and you watch those conversations from time to time. Maybe you say, okay, once a day, I'm going to go check in with it. You're going to start to see what kind of questions your user's asking, and you're going to start to add things that you may have not considered before. So this is really amazing intel to know really what your customers are wanting, what questions they're, really what they're needing answers to. And then you start to massage this chatbot, like, and one way is you can pull the knowledge base out and you can add it in, and then you can just re-upload, and then it will go through that content again. So that's a really, really big piece of the process, is being able to go in, and really pay attention to where are things getting stuck. Like, it's not all going to be perfect right away. You have to, like this is kind of the thing that you kind of have to do a little back and forth. Andrea says that I assume that you can enter more than one knowledge base, like a Word document and the link to your website. Absolutely. You can absolutely do that. And sometimes people, part of the knowledge base, and the way that it's really great for chatbots to pick up the information, is that you do specific URLs to each page or each piece, or even a sitemap, if that makes sense to you. Or otherwise, it's like, okay, I'm going to go to Coastal Bike Tours /booking, Coastal Book Tours / frequently asked question. Next week, okay, you want to know what type of bot press plan business might need? Yes, 100%. Yes, I can absolutely. I've got information for you, because that's the biggest question. People go, how much is this thing costing? I know we are over. I'm cognizant of time. Let's cover that next week. This is all absolutely, you can create these chatbots free, up to 2,000 messages, which is a lot for some people. So I'll dive into more of that next week. But I want to thank everyone so much for being here, and I hope this has kind of enlightened you on this chatbot process.
Yeah, I would agree. And if anyone has any questions, like, feel free to send them through, and we'll get them addressed next week. Melissa's, I believe, available as kind of a one-on-one presenter on Digiport as well. So I do think that you're able to book a session. So let's say you get to the end and you're just stuck for one little piece. Maybe that's something you could, book Melissa for and chat about. That's after next week. I'm probably jumping the gun, but I don't mind. I just want to let you know that Melissa is available, and Digiport does have a lot of supports for you. So I'll take back over the screen. Thank you, Melissa, for not stopping sharing. You're so good at that.
Thank
And
you. Thank you, Nick.
I hope you have a great day. Just let me get back to my screen. Perfect. Okay, give me one sec here. Okay. So thank you again for joining us today. It was an excellent workshop, and really helped show the applicability of the information. So if you can join us next week for the final piece, that'd be excellent. And I'm really excited to see how we can integrate that into our websites and really save you guys the time. I'd also want to let you know that our spring tune-up session is a digital workshop presented by Maria McGowan of Social Media. And we talk about, what would make a great looking website, get to the point, craft web content that shines, and SEO strategies for tourism websites. For those, all three of those are May 9th, 16th, and 23rd. So the month of May, we're going to cover a spring tune-up. We also have our tourism digital assistance program for communities, where communities can receive up to $15,000 in services that will help bridge the digital gap that we speak about so often. You are able to apply until May 1st at 4 p.m. If you have any questions, give us a call. The link's there, and it's also available on our website and Digital Nova Scotia's website. If you'd like to stay connected with us, you can email us at tnsbusiness@novascotia.ca. tourismns.ca, novascotia.com. We are always sharing information through our news and resources section. So that is tourismns.news-resources. Corporate X account, also known as Twitter, is Tourism Nova Scotia, and our corporate LinkedIn is Tourism Nova Scotia. So thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great day, and can't wait to see you next week.